All right, on this LPDS episode, we're doing a little build-off of the previous episode 147, that was fad and trendy, weird health and wellness tactics. This episode, we're getting into some fad diets, some unique diet trends that have been going around lately, or things that have been around for a little while that people continue to use as their diet plans, if you will. So we're going to get into some of those, find out from the fans what they have tried in the past or what they want to learn more about. I'll also get into what I've tried in the past, what I considered trying, and what I think is malarkey. And then you guys can do with that information what you will. But please go back to the previous episode, 147, to learn about the health and wellness tactics and training and techniques and what have yous. And then this episode will build on that so that you can put it all together for your health and wellness fitness journey, or whatever you want to call it. All that stuff, plus current events, plus Cage Fact, coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti. It's the show that seemingly talks about nothing but finds the lessons in everything. And we try to have a good time and share a few laughs in the process. So thanks for coming back. For all you newcomers, welcome if there are any. Thanks for tuning in. Got a good show today. Got a lot of things to talk about. A lot of fun fan submissions in the junction that we're going to get into to help people in their fitness and health journeys. And I got a couple of ideas of my own that I can pass on to you. But before we get into all that, I went to the Adam Sandler show. I guess they call it concerts, even though it's like comedy show. For him, it was a full performance. He was in the Houston area earlier last week, and the Creature and I went to go check him out. I've been a fan of Adam Sandler since I was a kid, like elementary school, when he was on SNL and he was putting out those raunchy, dark-humored comedy albums with his mixture of comedy and songs and what have yous. I loved it. And then, of course, Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, and everything, went uphill from there for him. And even his most recent movies in the last decade, while the movies seem to be like trash, you could call them trash if you're like a single guy like me, or someone expecting the dirty Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore style comedies. But you can also appreciate Adam Sandler for his ability to shift over into a new market, because I believe the market he's trying to get into, as I fix this stupid mic thing, this thing is so weak, this mic stand. God, I gotta stop being so cheap sometimes with this stuff. Look at this garbage. Stand by 1 second, folks. All right, maybe I fixed it now. Anyway, he's shifted over into this market of, like, I've got kids now, so I want to appeal to kids that age, my kids' age, and movies, but also sneak in some under-the-table adult jokes, like in Grown Ups and stuff, when he's making his little trash talks to his pals in the movie, and it works. I like them, maybe because I'm biased and I'm just a big fan of the Sandman, but kids like them, and parents probably appreciate that they can also sort of enjoy those movies as well while their kids enjoy them too. So I initially thought it was going to be like more family friendly, but Sandman delivered, baby. What a performance. He was up on stage for like 2+ hours for a full arena of people. Rob Schneider showed up. The guy from Waterboy with the cross eyes. He was also one of his gay friends from Big Daddy. That guy, he showed up for a second, a little cameo appearance. His wife and family showed up. His kids sang a song. It was awesome. He still got it. His ability to entertain and make people laugh and bring people together is unparalleled. and I had a great time. If you have the opportunity to go see Adam Sandler in concert, it's well worth it. Well worth it. And the tickets weren't even that expensive. We were in the nosebleeds, but it was like $50, $60 or whatever. So you can't beat it with a stick. You can sure try, though. So moving on. Before I move on to more current events, I have to apologize to a fan. A diehard, ride or die fan, Greasy. He submitted a comment or an idea, topic for the previous episode about trendy, unique, weird fitness and wellness, health and wellness tactics and techniques in the comments section, and I completely forgot to include it in the last episode. So I apologize to him. He's a good guy. He's a true fan, Greasy. He's a beat cop over in Philly, so he spends most of his time, walking the beat, looking for crimes to solve. The poor bastard lives in a one-room apartment, like a studio, on a Murphy bed, and he's wearing one of those hats with the little card sticking out of it, and he's just constantly trying to solve crimes in Philly. And there's a lot of crimes in Philly per capita, so he's constantly busy, and all he wanted to do is hear more about this topic, and I completely dropped the ball. So I apologize to Officer Greasy, but he wanted to ask about sound baths. All right, had a phone call, so the screen froze and the doo-doo-doos happened. So apologize for that. I'm gonna jump into sound baths real quick, and then we're gonna move on because I owe him that. I owe the fans that. So I want to apologize for my mistake. But sound baths are this. I don't know how old they are. They're definitely more popular these days, at least because the internet's around and you can see more people doing it and trying and hearing about it. It's this sort of art of meditation where you're laying down sort of somberly, I guess you can say, and there is this sound bath practitioner, this professional, sort of like a yoga instructor or a Reiki master, and they're the ones creating the sound around you. And they use a couple of different objects, from gongs to cymbals to triangles to these like weird glass type bowls, and they make little sounds. They have like a little like a drumstick, and they can hit them or like swirl around them with the how you doing with the stick, and it makes like that vibration sort of sound and humming, if you will. It's sort of similar to when you hold a wine glass and you wet your sausage fingers and you go around. It's like high pitch and strange and weird. It's like that. It's just different pitches, and it's a little bit more somber, quiet, calming sort of a thing. And you lay there in quietness and calmness, and this instructor does the sound doo-doo-doos, and then they also might have some sort of like communication with you, like some sort of speech that they give. It's not really a speech, but it's like they guide you through the meditation, if you will. And the idea of that is supposed to relax you, de-stress you, provide you with some sort of a different energy inside of your body and your aura, so that you can go about your day a little bit more calmly and with a little bit more perspective. Now, there are things that I have done in the past that have sort of the same effect and do sort of the same thing. The sauna does that for me. Just straight up meditating does that for me. And then I also do this thing before bed. I put on like the little sleep app, and it's got the rain sounds, like the thick, hard rain drops. I like that. That's calming for me. It helps me go to sleep. I like that sound. It does have a calming effect. So I can't really dog on sound baths in that regard for the reasons people do it. However, like we mentioned in episode 147, with some of these techniques and these things here, you want to be careful when it comes to somebody telling you that, hey, this is a life-changing thing. This is gonna replace all sort of modern medicine for you. Just do this and you'll be healthy. B, I'm the only one who can do this for you. You can't do it on your own. I need to be there to guide you through this meditation and hit the bowls and the what have yous. And C, you have to pay me to do it. Okay? When those flags pop up, either one of those or all three of them together, that's usually where I turn around and walk away. I say, thank you for your time. Take a hike. Because for stuff like this, when it comes to relaxing, soothing sort of meditation type of exercises, in this day and age, if you need somebody to be there to do it for you and charge you for it, it's probably hogwash. Okay? With all the information on the internet, I just looked it up earlier today before I recorded. Before I hit the record button here on this episode, I looked it up to see what it was all about. And I can do it myself here at home. I could put on an app on a phone. I could get a computer, like a YouTube video clip of those type of sounds. And all you got to do is open your mind to the same idea. This is just because it's not physically in person. There has been no sort of scientific evidence to suggest that the bowls inside the room have to be physically with you for you to get that sort of audible energy where the vibrations physically hit you. People might be able to claim that. Those instructors might claim that. But that's malarkey. Okay? Because there's also no medical or scientific proof that there is a physical health benefit to this sort of wellness technique, this sort of meditation. It's a feeling thing. It's an individual subjective feeling thing. If you feel good doing it, cool. Then it's working for you. And I have no problem with that. I don't think all that stuff is malarkey and hogwash. Just when people are trying to charge you an arm and a leg on a regular basis to do this, and that's the only way you can get it done, that's what I call BS on. And that's what you guys should call BS on too. So if you want to have a room full of weird bowls that you can't even put soup or pasta in, vibrating in your house, shaking things up in your aura, shaking your chakras up to the core, by all means, go for it. I just warn you, be careful of the snake oil salesman. You can do this stuff in your house. You can get your friends together and you can play with bowls one night and have like a little girls or guys night doing bowl stuff and relaxing and soothing each other that way. And that doesn't cost much money at all, okay? You probably have a good time doing it because your friends are around. You can joke and laugh, and that's also soothing and relaxing, okay? So, for greasy and sound bathers, what are you doing, you idiot? Sound bathers, have at it. Enjoy the vibrations, and it's shaking things up for you and doing whatever it is it does to you. Enjoy that. Don't pay too much money for that garbage because you can do it by yourself, okay? I always caution that. And you can call me cheap. You can call me frugal. You can call me fiscally responsible. You can call me whatever you want. You know it's right, okay? When someone is trying to tell you they're the only ones who can provide you this service and you have to pay for it, it's not even a service. It's just they're going to make noise for you. Okay, if it was something of value, got it. Look into that service and see if it's going to benefit you. But it's noises. The value comes from within. If you open your mind to it, you can find a way to get value out of noises from anything. Turn on an old TV at a channel 01 and you'll get the white noise channel, and that could be soothing for you. Or download the app that has it, or the waves, or a humming, or one of those old, like those monk throat singers that do all like the religious throat stuff where they're like that. They have those in apps and YouTube videos that are on repeat. They cycle through for you. Just don't pay too much money. Don't spend your kids' college savings on bowl stuff right away, okay? Think before you bowl. All right, but thank you for that submission. Again, I apologize for that. Now, we'll run through some of these headlines here, and then we'll get into the junction, the good stuff. This has to be mentioned, okay? Because it doesn't seem like anybody on TV is mentioning it. There have been a string of accidents around the country that have released hazardous waste into the environment in a grand scale. Okay, the biggest one right now is the one going on in Ohio, in East Palestine or Palestine, Ohio. Not a great name for a town in America these days, but regardless, a train derailed and spilled this immense amount of toxic chemicals into the water. It got into the smoke, got into the air, and it's spreading around the entire town. And the effects can now be seen in other states too because of the smog and the smoke cloud. It was like a nuclear blast. The reach was so bad. And they're saying already it could potentially be the biggest hazardous waste incident and accident in U.S. history, like bigger than 3 Mile Island, bigger than 9/11 with all the smoke and smog and fallout from that. All that, it said it could possibly be bigger than all those. And the water is shot to shit. People can't really breathe. They can't clean themselves. They can't drink the water there. They can't sell their houses and move out because who's going to buy that house? It's in a fallout area. Okay? There's also been stuff going on and down in Florida. Some sort of plastics factory blew up, and that's releasing toxic chemicals into the air. There was another chemical train derailment in Arizona. This is all in the same week, folks. Okay? And there was like 2 more. There was 5 total. I forgot what the other 2 were, but there was like 5 total within the same week around the country that all happened to be toxic waste releases into the atmosphere. Okay? Here's why this is important to try to find information on and educate yourselves on. First, you want to know where this is happening and how it happened and sort of why it's happening in those particular areas, and if it affects you or your family or friends, and what you can do to mitigate in response to this, okay, for your own peace of mind and to figure that out. 2, you want to find out why nobody's talking about it on TV. There hasn't been a White House briefing on it. The media mums the word on that, except for the internets, and of course it's all like it's the tinfoil hat theorists. Theorists are coming out, and they're the only ones speaking about it because it's malarkey. It's just a little strange that's happened. So you want to take note of that. Okay, this is why I bring this up. When stuff like this happens in this sort of grand scale in this short period of time, you want to take the step back and understand, see where the flags are in this. Okay, we had upwards of 5 hazardous waste incidents in the same week, practically, within a week and a half of each other, around the country. How did that happen? Is it poor infrastructure that has been neglected for decades? I know the rail system in the Ohio, like that Mid-Atlantic area, or I don't know what it's called, Transatlantic, I don't know, that area where Ohio is, it's been a nightmare. You can see videos of the railroads just all over the place, weaving in and out, nothing straight. It's a disaster. So at any day, a train could derail for no other reason than it's just garbage conditions that nobody's paying. The local governments aren't paying to get repaired or updated whatsoever. So it could be that. It could be absolute neglect and laziness on the part of the people working there or whatever. The tinfoil hat theory is that this could be a power play for some reason to weaken, the American people in some way, shape, or form, to expedite the hazards to our waste, to our environment, to justify the government asking for more money and demanding more money for environmental concerns for the EPA. I don't know. I'm not saying I believe any of this stuff, but go through the thought exercise, the thought process, the critical analysis of the reasoning behind all this. The biggest red flag, and it's sort of like a couple small red flags together that make this. Nobody's talking about it in the mainstream media. Okay, they're talking about the UFOs and the balloons getting shot down. So nobody's talking about that, 1. 2, the EPA is saying everything is fine up there in Ohio. The drinking water is fine. Everything is fine, even though they got neon green water in some parts and rainbow-colored tint inside the water. Fish are dying in the water. In Kentucky, somebody sent me this video. I haven't been able to truly verify all of it yet, but some guy posted this video of like dozens and dozens of birds in his neighborhood in Kentucky, which is he's about 5 hours north of the impact of that Ohio incident. Birds are just dropping dead. So there could be a connection there. It's very strange coincidence, that these birds just started dropping dead right around, a couple days after this incident, within flying distance of where they could have been. So that's another flag that the EPA is saying nothing to worry about here. Don't forget, folks. Keep the tinfoil hats on a little bit longer here. Follow me. The EPA said there was no hazard or nothing to worry about with the fallout of the Twin Tower collapse and the rubble and the smog and smoke that engulfed the entire city. Okay? Meanwhile, 20 years later, thousands and thousands and thousands of people in New York, whether they helped out with the recovery efforts or they were just living in the city at that time, or right across the river in New Jersey, right close to it, have been dealing with cancer, gotten cancer, having cancer treatment, dying of cancer, had to leave their jobs, go on disability because they have chronic issues, health issues, medical issues because of this. My cousin was a firefighter and a cop in New York. He had to go on disability and leave the fire department because of a what do they call it? A 9/11 cough or something like that. And then only a couple years ago, like we're talking 17 years after 9/11, he got cancer. And they said, the doctors told him, this is exactly what we've seen from people who are helping the recovery efforts of the Twin Towers. And the EPA was pushing. There's nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong with this smoke. This is fine. This is good to go. You guys are fine. Keep living. And they're doing that again now. So that's a red flag. Long story short, that's a red flag. And then, apparently, FEMA and the federal government denied Ohio's government's, their governor's initial request for federal aid for this event, this situation. And I don't know if Florida or Arizona submitted for their federal aid yet or not, but nobody's getting federal aid for their hazardous waste incidents is going on in their respective states right now. That's a huge red flag. That the government that is supposed to be for the people and the citizens and the health and wellness and safety and security denied the initial request for aid, which is wild to me. Because we just sent $100 billion of money and equipment and services over to Ukraine, and they're denying requests for in-house. Okay? All these things need to be paid attention to, folks. Okay? So if you're not hearing it on a TV and you're just seeing it on the internet, that's fishy. All this is fishy. I don't know what the reason behind all of it is, but it's all very fishy to me that we're learning about balloons and stuff and not about this sort of thing and not helping these people out better. Meanwhile, we're hearing that one of the balloons or unidentified objects that an F-22 shot down could have possibly most likely have been like a hobbyist balloon that some human being just had up there as a hobby, or maybe a troll or whatever. And they just shot it down, no questions asked. They let the known Chinese spy balloon traverse the entire country before they shot it down. But all these unknown things, I guess that's the pendulum swing response by our government, is every time we see a balloon in the air, weather, hot air, birthday party, rogue birthday party balloon, we're just going to shoot it down with these $100,000 missiles before we investigate to see what it is. We knew about the Chinese one, the spy one. We let that go across the entire country. But this pink third birthday balloon, or this rogue gender reveal balloon, we're just chopping it down. We're just shooting it down immediately, no questions asked. And we'll make that the big story. We'll will just toss the idea of potential aliens in the faces of people while people are dying and breathing in and drinking in toxic waste, hazardous waste over here in Ohio. It's wild to me, and that's that. I'm gonna stop talking there because I can talk all day about that and really create some conspiracy theories behind it, but I don't want to do that. So look into it. That's all I'm saying, and I know that's what all the tinfoil hat wearers say too. So whatever. Moving on. We talked about recently the Epstein list supposed to be coming out. Hasn't come out yet. It's supposed to be released this week. So still waiting on that. That's a real shocker. I think I called that one a couple weeks ago when we discussed it earlier. That it was probably just a red herring to cover something up. Or maybe it was released and they've been covering it up with balloon stories. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. So if you have, let me know. But there was another update to the whole JP Morgan bank account investigation going on. Apparently, the individual account manager for Epstein's bank account, while he was using it to fund his child sex trafficking ring, might have been also part of that ring, where he was keeping the account open and allowing Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to conduct their financial business, and he was getting stuff in return from Epstein, from overseas, over in Europe. He was getting maybe some pictures. He was also, noted to be on the island a few times for quote-unquote business reasons. But apparently he's also a customer and not just an account manager. So another thing another piece of the puzzle there for that whole thing going on. We still don't know the suspects. The list has still not been revealed. So currently still, I know currently also means still. It's the same thing, synonyms. We have two suspects, two charged child sex traffickers. One was suicided and one remains in prison, Maxwell. And we have financiers of it, of a known, proven child sex trafficking ring, but no perpetrators of the child sex rape. So figure that one out. Hopefully the list comes out soon and it's actually the full list. But anyway, moving on. Super Bowl happened a few weeks ago. I recorded the previous episode before the Super Bowl, so I kind of made predictions on what was going to happen, and we were right. Philadelphia is no more. The city is burned to the ground. So there you go. But the commercials were garbage. Does anyone else think the commercials were trash? The only one worth talking about that everyone was talking about was the Tubi trick channel change commercial, where they tricked people into thinking that someone was sitting on the remote and changing the game to something else. And it further proved, as if the toilet paper and bread and milk fiasco of the COVID era didn't prove it enough, the Tubi commercial further proved that when shit hits the fan, even just on TV, not even in real life, people devolve into utter stupidity and uselessness. Because the reaction videos of people thinking this was real, someone was changing the channel on the big Super Bowl game, them deteriorating and going crazy on their own family was just nuts. It was embarrassing. Some of it was funny because they realized how stupid they were and they admitted to their stupidity. But some of it was just absolutely embarrassing. One girl broke up with her boyfriend because of how he reacted and all the things that he was saying to her. The names he was calling her for changing the channel during a commercial break. And she's like, if this is how you're going to react to a Super Bowl game, there's no way I'm staying with you through thick or thin. Like, this was thin, and that's how we reacted. So that was the only thing worth talking about with the commercials. I don't even remember the rest of them. I'm trying to think right now. Nothing was good enough. There was a couple that had pre-Super Bowl commercials to build up to their big Super Bowl ad, and they were all a bust. I think the Gronk field goal thing, that was a bust. The Mr. Peanut was a bust. It was all a joke. Whoever is in Madison Avenue these days working on ad campaigns, they're just phoning it in, and we're eating it up. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should get over there and start creating some ads for some people because these were garbage. Absolute garbage. Speaking of garbage, I wanted to make note of the age of our world, our national leaders. Dinosaur Dianne Feinstein is a senator or congressman. I don't know what she is anymore. She works in the government in the United States. She's 90 years old. Okay, she's been in the news recently because her staff released that she was retiring, but she didn't know that they released it without talking to her, so she didn't know she was retiring, and she had to go on a little speaking tour to clear the air about that. She's 90 years old. Okay, so just a friendly reminder that our country is being run by grandparents and great-grandparents wearing diapers and crapping themselves and not even knowing that they retired. She didn't know she retired. That's how old she is. My neighbor is 93 years old. It's Saturday now when I'm recording this. He's been out there walking since Monday to his mailbox to go pick up a Valentine's Day card that his daughter said she sent to him. He's still out there walking to go get it. Okay? And his counterpart is running this country. Doesn't even know she retired. She's 90 years old. 90 years old, folks. Okay? Most people have been retiring at 65. I know it's a little older lately. 55, 65 years old. People are retiring from their jobs to be with their families and be retired. Okay? Add 30 more years to that, and this old bag of bones is still working and trying to run this country, along with 85-year-old Nancy Pelosi, 85-year-old that Muppet Mitch McConnell, 85-year-old Chuck Schumer, who looks like a troll now. He's got a hunchback and everything. All these old bastards running our government and our White House. I mean, what is going on? Maybe that's why we don't know about the Ohio and the hazardous waste materials incidents, because these people are busy at their dialysis appointments and their chemo, and they're getting their bedpans changed, and they don't even know what's going on out there to be able to do anything about it. It's just absolutely wild to me that these people are still working and in the most important positions in the country right now. Okay? So, again, keep that in mind when it comes time to vote. Think about who you're voting for and how long they have on this earth. Dianne Feinstein can die in an hour. And it wouldn't be a shock. It wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe she just died. It wouldn't be like if AOC, got sick or passed away or hurt or, broke her hip or whatever. That would be like, wow, AOC broke her hip. That's crazy. She's so young. Wonder what happened. She must have took a real hard fall. Dianne Feinstein could drop dead right now and be like, wow, I can't believe she lived this long. She was 90. Okay? That's all I got about that. Now, without further ado, we'll move on into the goods. It's only been 30 minutes, folks, and I've been flapping my gills. This is unbelievable. I got to stop doing that. Anyway, we'll step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by JC's Sunday Wafers. Do you get hungry between meals, but you're also looking for a little boost of the Holy Spirit without packing on the calories? Then get yourself some JC's Sunday Wafers today. From the maker of Holy Spirit wine, JC now offers a delicious and light snack that fills up your stomach and soul with just one wafer and 5 Hail Marys. So to get your wafer on today, just head down to your local church with 10% of your salary, and if you use the Lord's Prayer as a promo code, you'll get a free sip of JC's Holy Spirit wine with every wafer. Does anybody else think it's a little weird that we've been, if you're Catholic, and I grew up Catholic, that we've been convinced since childhood that we are eating the body and drinking the blood of this dead human being, this 2,000 plus year old dead human being. And it's normalized. Like, I just go, the body and blood of Christ. Amen. How you doing? It's cannibal. They're okaying cannibalism. They're giving the okay to cannibalism. Go be Jeffrey Dahmer in the name of God. In the name of Jesus our Lord. Amen. Why'd you eat all those people, Jeff? I'm just very religious. That's why. I'm a big-time Catholic. Oh, got it. You're free to go. Body and blood of Christ. You're trying to get the body and blood in everyone. That's just strange to me, okay? I'm not saying don't be Catholic or don't be religious. Like I said, I'm Catholic. I'm eating somebody's body every time I go to church. Anyway, that's the sponsor. We got to get a real sponsors, guys. I got to find somebody who is willing to put up or shut up because these are getting out of hand. Anyway, the Cage fact. Back in the day, maybe 10, 12, 15 years ago, is when sort of like the 3D movies hit their peak. They were big time. They sort of, I guess there's been a recent resurgence in 3D, sort of 4D type of movies with the newest, what's that movie called? Not Avengers. Avatar came out. Avatar 2 came out. By the way, hot take, not an Avatar fan. I know he was waiting for the technology to come on, James Cameron, so that he can give you a thrilling CGI experience. But you had 10 years to come up with a better storyline, James. Instead, you stole Fern Gully and Dances with Wolves and combined them together into a computer cartoon where people touch tail tips to make love. And then he did it again with number 2. Everyone's like, oh, this is awesome. The graphics are spectacular. Video game graphics. Like, just put that on a big screen, and that's what you get. You're just getting good graphics with garbage story. Overrated. Anyway, back in the day, the 2010s, 09, 10, 11, 12, that time frame was when the 3D movies were getting a little bigger. And Nic Cage did a movie, Drive Angry, wild movie, crazy scenes in there. There's one scene where he's doing sex in the middle of a gunfight. Incredible. But he does this movie, and they had the 3D option for it. And because the 3D situation was so new, Nic Cage he wanted to explore this as much as possible. And he didn't really know exactly how much different you had to perform as an actor for 3D movies. And he said in an interview he came to realize that you really don't have to do much else different. It's really more about how they shoot the scenes to make it 3D eligible when you put on the little glass of how you doings. But one of the things he wanted to do was in one of the scenes, he didn't specify which one because they ended up cutting the scene, I guess. He wanted to be able to do something where it looked like he was licking the audience. So that he would come in and stick his tongue out, and it would look like it was going into the fourth row of the movie theater because you had your glasses on, and it was a 3D experience. Now, I wish... Look, Drive Angry was not a great movie. It was a wild movie. A lot of crazy, unrealistic scenes in that movie. He comes back from the dead to go get vengeance for his daughter's murder or something like that. Okay, that's the premise of the movie. All right? So it's not really too far-fetched to have Nic Cage in a wildly Nic Cage movie licking people. So the fact that they actually took it out was more crazy to me than if they left it in, if they had that scene in there. But he did say, that's the Cage fact, he did say he wanted to lick the audience through the magic and mystery of 3D movies. That's the fact. There you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. All right, moving on over to the Junction. Finally, we'll spin the logo up, and we'll get down and dirty into the Junction topic. We're talking about fad diets, weird diets, strange diets that people might not try otherwise, or they have tried and they have some feedback on it, or they want to learn more about, whether it's faddish, trendy, malarkey, or legitimate. So I asked the fans for some feedback on that, and then I have some stories of my own that I'll share, and hopefully this will help you guys in your journey on what you want to try out when it comes to dieting and fitness and health and wellness. All right. Now, the first one, this person submitted that they get hit up constantly. They're a fitness trainer of sorts. I don't know if they're an official trainer or they do it as a hobby on the side, but they're in the gym all the time helping people out and whatever. And they get hit up constantly, they said, this person said, mostly by like housewives, like stay-at-home spouses that are doing these multi-level marketing pyramid scheme sort of diet product sales. So we're talking Herbalife, Plexus. What else was there on the pyramid scheme side of things? They're escaping me now. But those sort of things, the protein shakes that people sell via pyramid scheme only. Like, get your friends over for a Tupperware party of protein powder, and this is going to change your life, and then also be on my sales team so that I can make money off of you doing nothing. So that's the pyramid scheme. If you draw it out, it's a pyramid. She gets hit up constantly with these, and as a fitness enthusiast, she is a personal training and health and wellness enthusiast and trainer. She's done a lot of digging herself. She never tried this stuff, but these are mostly scams. Okay, there are a few out there that the business model is schemish. It's a pyramid scheme model, but the product itself is pretty straight up just protein. It's just more expensive because it comes in that business model form because they have to make their nuts somehow. So they charge you way more for this protein powder or whatever it is, this vitamin, because they have to get their nut and the pyramid needs to flow for them. So they charge you more for vitamin D pills. But some of the stuff is just straight up, this is vitamin D, but it's from, Jabroni Nutrition, so this is the best vitamin D out there. That's how they marketed it. This is the best vitamin. It's not. It's just vitamin D3 or whatever, or it's just straight whey protein. When it comes to that, if you're gonna buy supplements, don't buy it from the pyramid schemers, okay? Because at the very least, even if the stuff is decent, you're spending way more money for it. And this is how they get you, folks, okay? Because, again, I've lived in that world before, selling shit through the pyramid schemers to make money, and I made some money off of it. And I knew what I was getting into, like I said, for the most part. Sometimes I got duped when I was a kid. But this is how they make their money. They charge you more, and then they offer you a member's discount if you become part of their sales team. Okay? And they rope you in with that. Oh, well, if you become part of the sales team, you have a chance to make money by selling the product. And if you don't sell the product, at the very least, you'll be able to buy the product at the discounted rate. And you'll be saving money. It's a win-win for you. You can either make a bunch of money selling it as aggressive as you want, or at the very least, you can save money by purchasing at discount. Here's what they don't tell you, folks. One, the discount that you get is still more money than you can get from the internet. Like if you bought it off the internet. If you just bought straight, no nonsense whey protein or vitamin pills or went to your local pharmacy and got it, it's still more money with the discount. Two, you have to pay annual fees to be part of the sales team. Okay, it's like $400 up front for most of these, $200 to $400 up front, and then you get this quote-unquote discount. So you're paying $200 up front, and then this discount adds up to maybe $200 in the end. So you're breaking even in that regard, but still paying more for a product than you would be if you bought it off Amazon or went direct to somebody's website to get their products. And so you end up losing money if you don't sell. If they trick you into thinking, I'll just get a discount on the product, I don't have to sell, they make money. Every time you buy the product at the quote-unquote discounted rate, guess who makes money off of it? The person above you who roped you into the pyramid. Okay? So don't buy your supplements and products from these snake oil salesmen. It's malarkey. It's garbage. It also, most of them don't work. Plexus doesn't work. All the people I know who sell Plexus or have sold it in the past are not healthy. Well, just put it nicely. They're not healthy. If you looked at them, you'd be like, you look unhealthy. Do you use your own product? What is going on here? Why would I want to buy supplements, health and wellness and fitness supplements from somebody who looks like you? Okay, so don't buy into that. Stay strong when they hit you hard with that. And don't let them guilt you into like, hey, listen, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm selling Plexus or Herbalife to help out, supplement our income because, my grandma's sick or this and that, and I need it. I know this is garbage product, but if you can help me out, that'd be really great. You want to help them out? Tell them to jump ship. Okay? There are a billion work-from-home jobs right now, part-time work-from-home jobs that you can do for a couple hours a week and make way more money and still be home to go take care of your families and kids or whatever else you're doing on the, as your main source of income if you have one. Or if you're a house spouse and you're not the breadwinner, you could take a couple hours a week for part-time to work from home doing customer support garbage. Nonsense for 2 hours a day, making more money and spending way less effort and not being part of the scam of these pyramid scheme supplement sales. So thank you for the feedback on that. Bottom line is they're garbage. Okay? Don't do it, and way to stay strong and not buying into it. All right, the next one here. This is probably the most popular one I got. I've had several people who've tried it, and then also several people who have not tried this and asked about it. It's intermittent fasting. Is this thing shrinking again? This stupid mic sucks. This mic stand. I got to do something. I got to duct tape it or get a new one or whatever. Anyway, intermittent fasting is essentially it's you create a time window throughout your day when you're awake that you eat. Okay? And you stick to that window, and it's different for everybody, but it's usually something like, I won't eat anything before 9 a.m. and after like 6 p.m. at night. So if you do the math on that, what's that window there? 9 hours. Is that a 9-hour window? Something like that. Where that's your eating window. And then the rest of that 24 hours of the day, what's 24 minus 9? 15? 15 and 9, 24. Yeah, 15 hours you're not eating. So it's sleeping and then drinking water and not intaking calories. And the idea behind that is when you restrict your timeline of when you're eating, it allows your body the time necessary to digest, readjust, replenish nutrients, and not store all that stuff as fat. Okay, it's pretty well known that one of the worst things you can do, besides eating and then going and taking a nap and like being immobile and sitting on the couch and couch potatoing it after a big meal, the worst thing you can do is eat right before you go to sleep. Eat a snack or a meal or whatever within an hour, 2 hours of before when you go to bed. That's pretty well known as the worst thing to do. So intermittent fasting just takes that to the next level of creating a smaller window in general of you're not waking up and immediately stuffing your face, and you're not stuffing your face right before bed. And that short time window, you eventually either intake less calories or you're only intaking the right stuff, and you're giving your body the chance to digest and replenish and burn off the garbage. Like I said, some people have done it. A lot of people who have done it have seen a lot. Most of the people who have given feedback here, most of the fans who have done it, seem to have benefited from it. I think there was only one fan who tried it and didn't say that they benefited or not. They just said they stopped doing it. But Helmet, my buddy Helms over there, he's been doing intermittent fasting for a little bit now, several months. And the only other thing he does intermittent fasting, and he's added, instead of using like dairy creamer or sugar in his coffee, he's used Phil Mickelson's wellness product. It's called The Good Stuff, and it's a non-dairy creamer, but it's really like a nutrient powder you put in your coffee. And it's got more nutrients in it. It's got a lot of vitamins in there, and it's not loaded with sugars and all this other stuff. And that's your coffee creamer essentially. Is this good? It's called The Good Stuff by Wellness or For Wellness. It's Phil Mickelson's brand. He's been doing that, and in the past couple months, he's lost like 20 pounds. That's with no exercise. That's just with intermittent fasting and this. He has not even progressed to the step of adjusting what he eats. He just adjusted his time window of when he eats. So when he couples that with changing what he's eating and intaking like more nutrient-dense foods, higher protein, lower shitty processed carbs, and sticking to vegetables and eating fruit at the right time before, and then he mixes in working out with all that, he's going to be in good and top shape. It's working for him. Some people have tried it and it just doesn't do anything. They don't see any sort of effects from it. I've seen some people that have shrunk their window down only a few hours a day, or they add in, they'll do intermittent fasting of like a 10-hour window, a 9 to 10-hour window of their day, and then like once a month or once a quarter, they'll do like a full 24-hour fast where it's just water for the day to reset. Excuse me, I hit my mic. I hope it didn't ring anybody's bells there. It resets their system, their digestive system, their body, all this other stuff. It has, it does some good things. And then some absolute animals have gone as far as to do like a 5-day water-only fast, water and salt-only fast, to do the same idea, to reset the body. Now, I've never tried the water-only full 24 hours or 5-day fast. Maybe I'll try the 24-hour one time, see how that works out. But I have done the intermittent fasting. I do it on and off. For the most part, throughout the week, I am pretty much eating, between 10 a.m. and like 7 p.m. And that's just natural, what I usually eat. Sometimes I veer off that. I'm not very strict on it right now, but I was strict on it for a while when I was doing some marathon training. It definitely benefited me a little bit. And it's tough for me because for whatever reason, stuff does not affect me in the same way that it affects others. Like supplements and pre-workout and this and that, I don't notice any of that stuff. I took pre-workout a lot in college. I tried all different types, and the only one that actually had a noticeable effect on me was the original like Jack 3D, mainly because it was drugs. They were putting drugs in there. Now the original product is illegal. That's not even out on the market anymore. They have some watered-down product that doesn't do anything anymore. And that's why it probably worked on me, because it was some sort of like methamphetamine or cocaine or something in there. It was driving me wild. And then I've taken niacin before in the past, and in the beginning, that gives you like a weird pins and needles sensation in your body. I looked like I had hives all over myself, and I felt a lot of energy, like I wanted to kill somebody. And that wore off after like 2 days of taking that. I took a pill a day before a workout as like the pre-workout, and then after 2 days, it did nothing for me. So intermittent fasting actually had some sort of benefit for me in a long-term effect. So I'm okay with it. But some people don't like it. It doesn't work for them. So let's make a caveat here. We are not pushing one diet or another on people. Everybody's body is physiologically different and responds differently to different diets. Okay? And that's okay. All right? There's not one size fits all when it comes to dieting and fitness and wellness. All right? People have to understand that. Cough, cough, the vegans. For whatever reason, they are the only ones who seem to think that veganism is the only way, the final solution in dieting. Anyway, we'll talk about veganism later. Thank you for that submission on the intermittent fasting. I hope for the people who want to learn more about it did learn a little bit about it now. This other person wrote, put in the Weight Watchers points system. They said that they believe it to be bullshit. I think maybe for that person it was bullshit, but the point system on paper sort of does make sense, and it goes a lot. They've updated it, Weight Watchers, recently in the coming years, and it goes a lot more into. It follows the same sort of principle as we were just saying before: is high protein, good carbs like not processed carbs like vegetables and some fruits, and grains and stuff, like the good carbohydrate energy sources. They're all the lowest points, and then the highest points are your sugars, your processed garbage, all your bullshit. It's gotten away from the only good stuff is the no fat stuff, because most low fat, no fat items out there, they're loaded with sugar or some sort of artificial chemical sweeteners to make up for the lack of taste, because fat brings flavor. Whether you like to admit that or not, fat is flavor in foods. So a lot of these light dressings and no-fat ranches and this and that, go check out the sweetener and sugar and chemical content in that. They're usually high in corn syrups, high fructose corn syrups, or sucralose, or some sort of chemical sweeteners in there to make up for the lack of flavor when they take the fat out. So Weight Watchers has gotten away from that. They're a little bit more natural, sort of similar to like the Whole30 approach, which I've never done before. I don't know much about, and nobody seemed to, in the fan world, in the Junction, care enough about it to mention it, so we won't talk about that one. But it seems to be like more natural foods, like eggs used to be bad, but are now higher, lower on the point system, which is good for the Weight Watchers world. So I don't think on paper it's a terrible way to go to give it a shot. If you couple it with exercise as well, you can give the Weight Watchers point system a shot. The same person also mentioned that they tried the paleo diet and the ketogenic diet. Now, paleo diet is very similar to the carnivore diet, which I'll get into in a bit here. But paleo is essentially meat proteins, beef, steak, poultry, eggs, and then you have like your some nuts and some more natural sort of snack types of foods. A little bit of veg in there, but it's more, the paleo kind of goes into like our ancestral, like this is what they had available to the Neanderthals. How you doing? This is what the Neanderthals had available to them back in the day when they were hunters and gatherers. So we're going to get back to our primal roots in that regard, and this is how we're going to eat. And then the ketogenic diet it's more like, I don't want to say chemically driven, but the aim of the ketogenic diet is to put you in a different chemical state, your body in a different state. They call it the state of ketosis, where your chemical and blood levels are at in a certain area. And again, I'm not a scientist. I'm an idiot. Don't forget that, okay? I am not a scientist. I am an idiot when it comes to this stuff. This is just from me listening to smart people talk about it and trying things out for myself. And I'm trying to pass this on to you guys as in layman's terms, if you will. So it does something chemically to put you in a state of ketosis where your main energy source in your body is coming from fat and not from carbs. Now, the thing with that is carbohydrates, the chemistry behind that, it's glucose. C2H6O2. I forgot I don't know what the chemical is. I don't know what the chemical composition is. Because I forgot. I haven't taken chemistry since high school pretty much. But it's glucose, and that's the fastest, quickest energy source that we get in our body. That's why when you do like an intense workout, or marathon runners or Ironman, triathletes, Olympic athletes like that, after their races or even during their long marathon, ultramarathon races, they'll take a hit of some sort of like sugary energy thing, whether it's gel, energy gels or jelly beans or Skittles, something like that, because they need the energy in their body. The water is going to hydrate them, but they need the electrolytes, they need the sugar, glucose, energy so that it can turn into glycogen, I believe, and it pumps the energy into your muscles and your body. It's the quickest way your body is able to turn food into energy is through carbohydrates and sugars and stuff like that, the glucose. Okay? The ketogenic diet and some of these other diets kind of flip the script on you and get your body to use fat as its primary energy source, which is great energy for you. Fat is phenomenal energy for the body. However, it does take much longer for your body to process fat and turn it into a source of energy than it does for carbohydrates, which is why they don't have fat gels for marathon runners, because it's going to take too long for that fat to turn to energy in your body and go to the muscles it needs to go to in the middle of a race. But the theory behind ketosis and carnivore and some of these other things when it comes to energy sources is that eventually your body is going to turn immediately to fat to turn it to energy, as opposed to looking for carbs first, then going to fat, and then you evolve into being a fat-burning machine as opposed to a carb-burning machine. The dangers with the ketogenic diet, and it's again, it's similar to all these other things. It's high protein, more higher fat, lower carb kind of meals. I think some of it might be no carbs at all. I haven't really done ketogenic diet too much, but when you get to a state of ketosis, you are very very finely balancing that line in the medical community of jumping over into ketoacidosis, which is a problem for your body. Now, if you go into ketoacidosis, I believe it's called, and if I'm wrong, somebody with some sort of medical prowess and knowledge, correct me, please, because we want the junction to be educated on this stuff and not given malarkey. If you go into ketoacidosis, you're in trouble, okay? So the ketogenic diet is not to be dicked around with all willy-nilly, okay? You need to follow the steps appropriately, probably consult a professional to give it a shot and be monitored appropriately before you just go start peddling the ketogenic diet to everybody all willy-nilly like, because that's something that's never mentioned by the keto community, is that you're teetering on that line between ketosis, which is good, and ketoacidosis, which is not good. Very bad stuff. Very, very bad stuff. Okay? So be careful with that. But this person said they had positive benefits of the keto diet. It worked out a lot better for them individually. Because, again, our bodies are all different. We respond to things differently. And ketosis was a lot easier for this person to get into, and it helped them burn fat off their body, which is, again, another misconception. When you're doubling down on energy sources in your body, what I mean by that is fat and carbs, your body's natural instinct is to store the excess energy source for later, which is mainly why if you're eating cheeseburgers and ice cream and steak all in the same day and all the time, yes, you're getting good things in. You're getting steak in you, high protein, burgers is, red meat, high protein, whatever. But then you're getting all the breads and the processed carbohydrates and the garbage shit inside your body. Okay, that's actually a real quick side note. That's a big reason why back in the day they were pushing this whole idea of like red meat causes cancer definitively, because the studies they were taking they were studying people who were eating cheeseburgers with loads of cheese and sauces and breads and garbage on top of these burgers, and then they were like, this person's getting cancer, it must be from the red meat. They've since adjusted a little bit. I'm not saying you should eat only red meat. Go do some research and consult a professional before you change your diet drastically like that. But anyway, when you double down on energy sources, the excess gets stored in your body. And like we just talked about, carb is the quickest source of energy, glucose. So your body will take the carbs that you take in and turn that into energy. And then they're like, oh, we got all this fat in here that we got from this fatty steak or whatever else we're eating that has high fat, avocados, what have you. And we're going to store this in the body for later because our body is constantly in survival mode. That's just instinctual. That's how we're genetically made up. So we're going to store this in the stomach and our hips and our asses and our bosoms, so that when we need it later, if we're starving, we have these energy sources right here for us to use. And that's how, and then couple that with no exercise, you're not burning calories. Because if you burn calories faster through exercise, your body is going to quickly go to the energy sources to pull from to nourish your muscles and your body. And then you burn calories and the fat is not getting stored on you, it's getting used. But when you eat like garbage and you don't exercise, all that extra stuff gets naturally stored in you because that's what your body wants to do. It wants to save up all that nutrients for later because it can't get enough. You never know when it's like that famine mentality going on in your bod. So the ketogenic workout, worked for that guy a little bit better because that's how his body liked to use energy, source energy. So there you go. Moving on over to the carnivore diet, which has been very popular recently and highly controversial because it has pushed back greatly on the idea of that red meat and meat causes cancer and is bad for you. And it drives the vegans and vegetarians crazy. Most of the vegans, it drives the PETA folks crazy. And then some of those old doctors back in the day who were paid off by like the sugar industry and stuff to say that sugar was good for you and meat's bad for you, they're getting mad too because it's pushing back on their quote-unquote expert opinions and what have yous. The carnivore diet is just that. It's just meat. Steak, ground beef. I think eggs might be part of that. I don't know if they add eggs in there or not. I think more the more extreme carnivore diet folks don't add eggs. But it's just meat. Maybe some chicken too. Maybe some poultry. I don't know if that's part of it too. I would think that is. But it's basically like the hunter mentality. Sort of like paleo, but not the hunter-gatherer, just the hunter. I hunt for meat. I eat the meat and the organ meat, and I'm good to go. And that's it. And the benefits you see from it, again, it's no carbs because it's just the meat portion. It's just the protein portion. So you're getting a lot of protein and you're getting a lot of fat if you're eating like a fatty ribeye or steaks all the time. So it's doing the sort of that, using the fat as the energy source as opposed to carbs. And you're getting a lot of protein. And protein is great for you for a number of reasons. One of the big ones that people don't realize is that protein takes the longest for your body to digest. So it's constantly working to digest protein inside of you, which is burning more calories. And burning calories cuts weight. Okay? That's that calories in, calories out thing. When you're eating high protein diets, naturally, you're going to be burning more calories because it takes more work for your body to digest that stuff. And the stuff is good for you to begin with. So that's the idea behind carnivore. And another big thing about it is that it's one of the biggest elimination diets, they call it, where you're just literally eliminating everything except for one source of food, meat. And it's got protein, it's got collagen, it's got vitamins, all the natural stuff that you need already with you. And you hydrate with water and you're good to go. So that's the idea behind that. A lot of people I've seen have used it because they've had really bad medical reactions to other foods. So by eliminating these other foods, they're eliminating their immunity issues or whatever they're having, allergic reactions, whatever. I'm not going to get into the health, the pros and cons of carnivore too much because I think vegetables are also very good for you, but that goes against the carnivore diet altogether. I think fruit's good for you in moderation. So I'm not the professional to ask about that, but that's what the carnivore diet is for all you who want to keep digging deeper. Now you have the intro level, the jabroni level knowledge of carnivore diet. We got 2 more. I know we're going long here. We're like an hour 10 in. Holy crap. I keep flapping my gills. This is a good one. You guys provided good feedback on here, so I appreciate that. The vegan diet. The vegan diet, I think, is pretty well known. It's no meat, no dairy. Probably no glutens now, too. They probably added glutens to the whole thing as well. So it's just anything that was made by an animal or came from an animal whatsoever is a no-go. A lot of people started doing it because they think it saves the animals, like they're PETA types, they're anti-animal cruelty and what have you, and they love animals more than people, whatever it might have been. Some people do because they say it's healthier. It is sort of an elimination diet of sorts because, again, for the longest time, red meat was the enemy. And I'm not saying red meat is not the enemy. Everything should be in moderation, I believe, especially if you're eating other stuff with it. If you're mixing in ice cream and stuff, you don't want to load up on steaks and crap because it's not going to be good for you, steaks and ice cream. But that was part of the whole push for veganism as well, besides the animal thing, was that red meat's the devil and it's causing cancer, so eliminate that. Eliminate the dairy so you're helping the cows out, and eliminate the eggs because you're helping the chickens out. And the world's going to be a better place for you. You're going to be healthier for it. For some people, it works really great. Some people are able to, they use a lot of supplements. That is one caveat of the vegan diet is I have not seen or heard from one vegan human being who has been able to just eat the vegan diet without having to supplement with like store-bought vitamins or supplement shakes or what have yous, which is nothing's wrong with that. I supplement too. I take vitamins. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I do notice that what a lot of these other diets, the need to supplement is not nearly as great. So take that for what you will. The problem I have with veganism, the big problem I have, there's a couple problems. The big problem I have with it is, if you want to know who a vegan is, just sit back and shut your mouth and they'll tell you. And they'll tell you aggressively too, and they have no problem wishing death upon you and your family if you show any signs of non-veganism. And this is not all of them, but the vegan community's reputation has been in the toilet for decades because of these animals, these extremists that tell you that they would rather you be dead and they want your family dead and stuff because you ate an egg. Or you posted a picture of a pepperoni pizza or something. Something ridiculous like that. So that's a big problem I have with the vegan community is their reputation is still garbage because of these people. Look at their username. They're like the CrossFitters of the diet world. All their usernames on social media are like Vegan Warrior and Ultimate Vegan and, Animal Lover, Vegan Forever, or whatever it is. They'll let you know. You don't have to ask anybody. They'll just tell you for the most part. Okay? The second problem I have with it, and this is a problem I have with all these other diets in some way, shape, or form, is, yes, you're eliminating a lot of foods and you're eating vegetables and soy and you're getting plant protein and you're supplementing with vitamins, and that's all well and good. But you know what else is vegan? Desserts. There are plenty of desserts out there that don't have eggs in them. They're made with something else other than eggs and to get, whatever. But there is a ton of vegan desserts out there and shit food that is vegan food. Candies, different types of bread that they don't put eggs in. They're veganized. It's veganized garbage. And because it says vegan on it, there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, it must be healthier because it's vegan. And again, the same goes with the other stuff. Like, oh, this must be healthy because it says it's keto on here on this protein bar. And you look and it's got no real sugar added, but 15 grams of sucralose or some other artificial chemical sweetener in there. So you got to be careful about that stuff. Vegan or keto or carnivore doesn't necessarily mean healthy only. Like, there are healthy ways to go about these diets, but there's always the loopholes. The fat, lazy bastards of the world will always find the loopholes to continue to be fat and lazy and then get on their moral high horse because they're following this other diet. Like, I'm a vegan, so I do it for the animals, but you're the size of a hippopotamus. What are you doing for the world? Like, what else are you eating that's doing this to you? And that doesn't mention the fact that you're now causing hang-ups and wait times in ERs and medical facilities because you have a litany of medical problems because you've been eating vegan ice cream 3 times a day for years, and you have diabetes and you have, brittle bone syndrome or whatever the hell else you might have because of it, and you're not helping anybody out. Also, another thing people don't want to realize about the vegan world, even the vegetarian world in some sorts, is that you're still killing animals in the process of creating vegan foods. And I know they're smaller. I guess there's a hierarchy of animals that people stop caring. Like, when you get low enough on the totem pole of animalia, the vegans will stop caring, or the animal rights activists will stop caring, because you decimate rodent populations, bug populations, ground nesting bird populations, and all these farms that need to be tilled, these soy farms, these wheat farms, whatever, to create vegan food or vegetarian food or these alternatives to meat. So it's just something to think about. I'm not saying don't be vegan because of it, but just understand that they're still killing animals. It's just different animals. And we're not even getting to eat some of these. Now, if I find a thick, meaty, ground-nesting bird or rodent, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'm not opposed to getting the most out of these animals that are dying. That's what we did back in the day. That's how we survived. So I'll give it a shot. I'm not opposed to that. But most of these animals are not being eaten. They're not being used for anything at all. They're just being decimated. So, again, something to think about in the communities out there. The carnivore guys are killing animals straight up to get cows and chickens and what have yous and elks. And the ketos or the vegans and the vegetarians are killing fish and rodents and birds and bugs. So there's pros and cons of all these. The final one, real quick, the juice cleanse. I don't get it. I don't get the juice cleanse. I don't know if anybody has ever done a juice cleanse before. Please let me know what it did for you and what exactly what you had to do for it. But I've seen juice cleanses. I've seen a couple of friends try them in the past, and it's really you're taking things that have nutrients in them, vegetables, fruits, and stuff, and you're squeezing juices out of them and turning them into the juice, and then you're throwing away the stuff that has the most nutrients, like the pulp of an orange or the stalk of the broccoli itself or whatever. You're just juicifying that, and the majority of the natural nutrients of some of this crap, some of it, not all of it, is going in the garbage. And then you mix it with water or whatever it is. I don't know what you're mixing it with, and you're drinking that. And it's a cleanse. What it is a starvation cleanse. That's what you're doing. You're starving yourself in some sort of weird, LA style, Hollywood style way, and then you lose weight. I have not seen anyone do juice cleanses that ends up coming out healthier. They might come out less, with less poundage, less tonnage behind them. So if somebody has done a juice cleanse and have seen actual health benefits other than weight loss only, weight loss is not really necessarily a health benefit for a lot of people. Okay, if I lose too much weight, I'm not going to be in good shape. If I was 600 pounds and lost weight, that's healthy. Obviously, there's a difference there. But if you're just losing weight only, on a 30-day juice cleanse, it could be because you're just starving yourself. I want to know about your energy levels. I want to know about your labs, like how you felt. Were you able to work out? Did you get sick at all throughout this time? How is your immunity to things? All this stuff comes into play when it comes to health and wellness in dieting. So, all right, I think that's all I got here. Thanks for the submissions on that. If you have the juice cleanse information, please pass it my way. If I missed something or a comment, please correct me. Like I said, I missed one from last episode, so I apologize for that. I am a human being, after all, and I can take accountability when I mess up. So if I did, let me know. But before we go, the big three. For those of you who don't know, the big three are the three pillars of the LPDS and the Jabroni Junction to staying strong, into being a better, happier, more positive person, a bigger light in the world, a better human being. All right, number one, exercise every day. Burn the calories. Get the chemicals going in your body. You'll feel better, and you'll eventually get healthier physically, mentally, emotionally. Okay? Number two, don't be a shitty person. Be a good person instead. But at the very least, when the opportunity arises to take a jab at someone and be an asshole to them and double down on the negativity in the world, just choose not to do it. Omit yourself from that. It's a simple concept. It's very difficult to do because you're emotionally invested in being an asshole to someone who is probably being an asshole to you in some way, shape, or form. And it's very easy to react emotionally, but just don't. Just before you do it, stop. And at the very least, you're not adding to the negative and the shit in the world. And by omission, you get subtraction and you get, betterment, if you will. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all you have in your lives. If you can center your life around gratitude and appreciating what you have, your family, friends, roof over your head, whatever it is, all the good you have, or even the opportunity, even the times that could have been bad and they weren't, you avoided bad situations, being grateful for that even. And you're actually grateful. That's why I say genuinely thankful and grateful. Not just saying it just so you can sound like a good person, but actually being grateful for that and showing that to the people who are important in your life. When you can shift your entire mindset and brain sort of environment in there into that grateful, thankful state, you'll feel better about yourself. You'll be in a more positive light. You couple that with not being a shitty person to other people because you have more important things to worry about and do with your day, like showing the people in your life how grateful you are to have them. And then you couple that with exercising and all the health and wellness benefits that goes into that physically, mentally, and emotionally, and you got yourself a pretty damn happy life. And the things in your life will start falling into place. Okay? And this is true. This is not my opinion. This is true. If you could get to that each day, if you can follow the big three in some way, shape, or form each day, it will eventually lead you down to a better, happier, more successful journey in your lives. Okay? And healthier, of course, too. So now that's all I got. I think that's all I got. Yep. Thank you guys again for listening. I know this was a longer one, 125 minutes or whatever. Holy crap. I apologize. So maybe break this down in a couple of listening sessions. But we got a lot of good information out there. Thank you for submitting that stuff. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the sharing and the doo-doo-doos and all that stuff. Hit the hotline, 202-670-1114. I haven't got a hotline call in a while, and it's making me sad because I love hearing from you guys on the hotline, whether it's a troll or a real question or a piece of advice or whatever it is. Send it on the hotline, 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.